She dug up her dead brother's corpse and is talking to it. I watched a clip where a rat climbs out of the buttons in his shirt.
Yes. Yeah. Now that was scary.
That scared me.
Yee. Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week, we are taking a trip over to Riverdale to see what weird stuff's happening in this place.
Spoiler alert, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's a lot happening in Riverdale.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a Riverdale viewer, have been from the jump, but I took a break because I'm not going to tell you it's a great show, but I am going to recommend it.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. But around season 4, I was like, I think I'm good. And didn't watch it for a couple of years and then got back into it on Netflix because all the seasons are on there except for the one that's airing right now as we record. And I'm in the midst of catching up. So I'm almost up to date now.
So what just started? Season 5?
No, season 7.
Oh my God. Really?
Or maybe season 6. Excuse me.
Oh boy, that's pretty wild.
Right. So I'm in season 5 on Netflix. So 5 seasons are on Netflix. Is that right? I think it's season 6
That can't be
right
right.
now.
I just looked it up and I think the show began in 2017.
No, I mean, let me see. Hang
Could
on.
that be? Has it been so long?
Yes, they're in season 6 right now.
Oh my God.
Right.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right.
So seasons 1 through 5 are on Netflix.
Fair enough.
And I am like midway through season 5.
Yeah, I'm aware
I'm loving it.
I watched, it must have been, I guess, shortly after Riverdale began. I think you had recommended it. Mm-hmm. And so I watched some of it and was surprised to find that, yes, I was sort of, maybe it just wasn't. It's not a show that's designed for me, right?
Sure.
So I was actually pleasantly surprised to find that there was a lot in it that I did enjoy. Mm-hmm. Having said that, of course I stopped at season 2.
Yeah. You watched all of season 1?
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that even.
I did. Well, my half of the topic today is exactly what I was interested in.
Right.
And my interest waned the second that this storyline was over. Mm-hmm. But let's just go ahead and say that we're going to be spoiling Riverdale, everybody.
Yep.
With reckless abandon.
Now, we're not holding it back.
Yes. So for people that have maybe been waiting to watch Riverdale, beware. I'm personally the kind of guy that I enjoy spoilers from time to time. They don't necessarily dissuade me.
Me neither. It depends on the thing. I think sometimes with TV shows, I sort of mind being spoiled because it's a longer game.
Yeah.
Generally, movies, I don't mind being spoiled because I'm going to find it all out in a couple hours anyway.
I know, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, choose your own adventure.
Exactly. But so we're going to be spoiling from throughout the show.
Right.
And,
so it's not a safe episode if you don't want Riverdale's spoilers.
No, certainly not. But here's the other thing that I want to say. And I think I did a similar thing with our wrestling episode recently.
Yes.
Listen, this show certainly is not designed for me. Having said that, we are explicitly and exclusively looking at the parts of the show that I think would appeal to a Guide to the Unknown listener.
Oh, yeah,
So
totally.
even if you look at a teen drama on the CW and think, nah, don't worry. Mm-hmm. We're only talking about the parts that are like spooky and weird because this show does a lot of horror and crime.
Yes.
And what I'm going to be telling you about in just a minute is gory. Mm-hmm. And for the people that are watching the show, I'm going to at least attempt to put on our nifty new set's screen some visuals of the dead body puppet that they use on this. Like network.
Right.
Primetime kids show.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really a kids show, but
it's a steamy teenagers.
Yeah, it's a steamy teen thing.
Yeah.
When you were saying like, it's not made for me. I was like, right, it's not made for you. It's of course not made for me either. I'm 38 years old, but it kind of is.
Yeah, see, it's not made for me.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I know.
But all right, well, let me start. Is that okay?
Yes,
because I'm talking about not only the show Riverdale, but I'm also going to share with you how we got here because I found this show, and I think that part of the sales pitch of this show is like, Archie, that plucky, lovable kids comic book,
right?
We're going to turn into a steamy,
gritty
of a show. So I figured let's contrast it and let's go way back to the beginning. So where Archie began was in 1941.
Okay.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just look up who the president was in 1941?
Sure. Do you have any guesses?
FDR.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I
don't know. I'm going to find out. Hang on.
Dwight D. Eisenhower would be 50s, I think.
Oh.
Because Indiana Jones says, I like Ike in Indiana Jones 4.
FDR.
FDR, thank you. See,
Good job.
That's intelligence.
Yes.
Not just a pretty good guess.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so Archie debuted in 1941. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was our president. And he debuted in a comic that was called Pep.
Oh.
Pep Comics. And it had the original, a superhero who was based on the American flag. I believe his name was The Shield. Okay. 1 year before Captain America was created, he wore clothes that were the American flag in Pep Comics, and they debuted.
Captain America's whole thing is his shield.
I know. It's a hell of a thing, isn't it?
Something to think about.
I know somebody came in and stomped all over this guy. Yeah. His name is Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
So an Archie story debuted, and this was the little bubble introducing him. Here you are, gang. America's newest boyfriend, Archie Andrews, christened Archibald. He hates Archie, so if you value life and limb, call him Chick.
Oh, that makes there's a chick in Riverdale.
Is that right?
Yes, and I did not realize that's why.
So Archie in this initial release is I'm going to say 10, 11 years old.
Oh, okay.
He's very much like a Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn sort
Dennis
of
the Menace?
Yeah, a little bit. The image that I saw of him was him standing on a bicycle as it's going down the street. He's got a slingshot hanging out of his back pocket.
Okay.
He's got, the red hair parted down the middle. Freckles. He looks like Alfred E. Newman from that magazine.
He sounds like Alfred E. Newman.
But it was instantly about Archie, his best friend Jughead, and he's going after Betty.
Yes.
Who's the blonde one
Betty.
is Betty. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's how the comics introduced the world of Archie.
Yeah.
Now let's jump ahead to 2017 for how the show introduced the world of Archie on Riverdale. This is Jughead's VO at the beginning of episode 1 of Riverdale. Our story is about a town, a small town, and the people who live in the town. From a distance, it presents itself like so many other small towns all over the world. Safe, decent, innocent. Get closer, though, and you start seeing the shadows underneath. The name of our town is Riverdale, and our story begins, I guess, with what the Blossom twins did this summer. On the 4th of July, just after dawn, Jason and Cheryl Blossom drove out to Sweetwater River for an early morning boat ride. The next thing we know happened for sure is that Dilton Doyley, who was leading Riverdale Boy Scout troop on a birdwatching expedition, came upon Cheryl by the river's edge. Riverdale police dragged Sweetwater River for Jason's body, but never found it. This is intercut with I guess, Betty's mom turning to her husband and saying, "If he is dead, Hal, I hope in those last moments he suffered."
Oh.
Back to the VO.
Why does she hate him?
So a week later, the Blossom family buried an empty casket. And Jason's death was ruled an accident, as the story that Cheryl told made the rounds. That Cheryl dropped a glove in the water, and Jason reached down to get it and accidentally tipped the boat and panicked and drowned. That's how Riverdale. So a stark contrast, I feel.
Yes.
A very true crimey serial sort of inspired. We're going to look at a murder. Is how Riverdale reinvented Archie, the plucky boy on the bicycle with a slingshot in his back.
Right. That didn't even mention Archie.
It did. Yeah. No, not at all. You don't even see Archie in this show for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the show's not called Archie.
Right.
The show is, and clearly,
all these people.
I feel it's inspired by Twin Peaks of all things.
For sure.
It's about the town and the intrigue of the town and the secrets between people and the lies and the cover-ups and the death and the drugs.
What could be better?
And that's what sucked me in. Tonally, I had issues. I believe Betty's friend goes like, "You're still into Archie? Sure, he's swell, but I mean, the guy is a total square," or something like that. And I was like, well,
That's
and
not how
they're
they
looking
talk.
at their iPhones, and they're saying G Willikers, and they still go to Pop's Chocolate Shop
that
to get a
doesn't
burger.
continue, like saying swell and stuff. I will say,
Okay.
I don't even remember that.
They dropped that.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of episode 1, Jason Blossom's body is found in the water with a gunshot wound in the forehead. Now,
Doesn't seem like you drowned reaching for a glove to me.
No, nor I.
Yeah.
And what a cutie pie story that they tell of like, why I dropped my glove in the water.
Right.
And he must have
so
gone
proper.
splashing in to get it.
Yeah.
Right. So the puppet that they have for this guy's dead body, and you can see this in the video version, link in the audio notes right now, so you can jump into the video version if you want to see this, is horrific to me in a really good way, I want to say.
Yes.
For a lot of scary media.
Yes.
But again, this is like I'm really sort of shocked by the grisly nature of this dummy. Its eyes are sort of rolling in its head.
It looks bloated.
Yeah.
And bluish.
The lips are like
waterlogged.
Blue and chapped, and it's
No, it's freaky.
It honestly, I think, rivals anything from like CSI. And again, for like a show that is about like relationship drama, it's just very surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, the show, it has a lot of relationship drama, but definitely crime and mysteries, I would say, are the biggest part of it, if not half and half.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that it's like a romantic show, as the genre.
It certainly seems to me like it's meant to be steamy, though.
It definitely is steamy, but I mean, the steaminess is almost a subplot. Like the central things that are going on are always them dealing with mysteries.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Or in Archie's case, boring stuff.
So here are some details that I just want to give you all to think about, and we'll come back to them at some point. Regarding Jason Blossom's corpse, here's some facts to bear in mind. His parents are maple syrup barons.
Yes.
They have a maple syrup empire here in Riverdale. They are rich, and they appear to be heartbroken, but who knows? I got this wrong in my notes everywhere. Betty's mom.
Okay.
Betty's mom says that line where she hopes he burns in hell, right? Hopes he's suffered. She also keeps talking about Betty's sister, Polly.
Right.
Who appears to not be around anymore, was maybe sent away. That's interesting as well.
It is.
Now, Cheryl, the twin, who said that the glove was in the water and that he went in after it, well, he showed up with a bullet wound in his head, so she must be lying, right? Could she have been involved in his death? And hold on, we're hearing all this in VO from Jughead, who in the comics, boy, he would never say no to a burger.
Oh, no. Absolutely his thing, and always wearing a crown.
Yes. In the show, he still wears a crown, but they made it look like a
beanie.
trendy kid beanie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's got the jagged
Which I think is
edges.
Sweet.
I know.
That was a really good way to loop that in.
They have very skillfully reinterpreted silly things from the comics to maintain them because they are Jughead wears a crown, but update them to make it somehow cool that Jughead wears a beanie crown. And they achieve it.
Yeah,
and that is incredible.
I think a lot of it is casting in general. Like the casting in the show is really good.
Yes.
Like you're into these people.
I agree. There's also, and this is, I think, paramount, there is clear respect for the IP.
Yes.
That this could have been pitched as
the intellectual properties, what
right.
There's clear respect for the Archie comics.
Yes, the history of this thing, and yet the reinterpretation of it. I think that's a really important thing if you're going to work in somebody else's intellectual property to actually do it justice.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. I didn't look this up. I have no idea if the creators of this show liked Archie or if they were presented with an opportunity to make this and put their spin on it. Either way, they clearly did their research and loaded this show with references and love letters. If you're paying attention, if you're not paying attention, maybe you're somebody who's been reading Archie comics for a long time and you can go, oh, I notice X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Maybe you're somebody who's never read an Archie comic in your life. Well, guess what? You're going to go on the internet and you're going to see people going did you notice the Easter eggs? And whether or not you care about those Easter eggs, you're going to go, oh, somebody cared about the making of this show.
Right.
Somebody poured their all into this. So it's a good business decision.
Yeah.
To spend your time and dig into the history and leave little Easter eggs and be passionate.
And I will say, if you would like to hear more about the creators of Archie and their inspirations, Will and I were on an episode of American Hysteria early on.
That's right.
Talking about the role of Satanism in Sabrina the Teenage Witch and a little bit in Riverdale. And I know that we talked about like Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, I think is his name, who's the creator of it, and his inspiration. I couldn't tell you what we said.
No, I don't
but I know we said it. So that's out there if you're interested.
Yeah, Chelsea had asked us if we would watch some of the shows, and I ended up watching 2 seasons.
Right.
I watched Riverdale and I watched Sabrina in total. And then I think, we didn't talk about the actual substance of individual episodes, and I was like,
oh, yeah, that's right.
I could have given this a loose Wikipedia.
Yes. Yes,
that's
like, right.
Up until like 3 a.m. watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oops.
Anyway, so Jughead is a moody badass on the show, right? And his dad is played by Skeet Ulrich.
Right.
Billy Loomis.
If you're watching the video version, I have a pillow with him as Billy Loomis next to me that my husband gave me for my birthday.
Yes, an incredible gift, and it lives here on the set now.
Yes.
So Billy Loomis is a gang member on the show. Could he have had some involvement? Just let those things simmer in the back of your mind as I tell you more about the origin of Archie. So I said he debuted in 1941. He was so popular in that debut, they spun him off into his own comic a year later in 1942. And it basically changed their entire business model. This company got out of the superhero game and went all into the Archie business. They just became Archie Comics. That's the name. And so Archie ruled the roost. The series ran for 73 years.
Oh my God.
In a row.
Yeah. Consecutively.
This initial run ended. The original continuity concluded in 2015 with issue number 666.
Nice.
Did you know about this?
No, I didn't.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
So I was curious because I knew that like certain things have come out. I knew that there was Afterlife with Archie, a story that mashed up Archie comics and zombie stories. So it was like a horror Archie thing.
Right.
So I was like, maybe 666, maybe they started getting into the more like, it's like the Archie comics are clearly for like kids and young teens.
Right.
Right.
I remember getting some Archie comics.
Did you really?
Yeah, because there was a comic book store in Connecticut where we grew up. Well, not in the town, but in Connecticut where we grew up. And I would get Archie comics and Simpsons comics.
Yeah, I used to get Simpsons comics for sure.
Yeah.
But so, do you remember anything about them?
No, not at all.
No. So those were like usually, I think, fairly innocent kinds of stories. So it was like 666. They ended with 666. That's got to be significant. So I looked up a synopsis. This comes from denofgeek.com. Link in the show notes. gttupod.com for all of our sources always. After damaging the Riverdale High hallways due to his late arrival to school, Archie is given a record-setting 666th detention by Mr. Weatherby and told that he will have to clean up his mess or face expulsion. Word quickly spreads throughout the school, and those whose lives he has touched, for better or worse, reflect upon exactly how much Archie means to them.
Very nice.
So it certainly is a conclusion of sorts. Like you get like a roundup, a memory-a-thon.
Right, it's not breaking form.
Not breaking form at all. And there's sort of an indication at the end of the comic, evidently, that it's like, no matter what happens, I'll always be there for you. Because they knew they were ending. But Archie would live on in a different form.
Of course.
So the very next year, they reboot Archie number 1, comic number 1. And this time it's aged up. So it's still a comic book, but now it's trying to go for that teenaged demographic, slightly more mature kinds of stories. But to the best of my understanding, Afterlife with Archie is its own thing and still is. So they started doing these like very much melding of horror with this otherwise G. Willikers 1940s kind of world, this suburbia place where usually somebody's biggest concern is like, I didn't make the cut for the football team. But now when a zombie's coming after you and you've got to deal with arcane horror and bloodshed. And it actually is kind of a fun contrast of tone. And I think this is really what the show Riverdale is born out of.
For sure.
Because it launches in 2017. So let's get back to Jason Blossom and his murder, which kicks off the TV show, the very popular TV show. I'm now going to tell you the story of the murder of Jason Blossom.
Wonderful.
All right? It's insane.
I know.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, vaguely.
Could you essentially tell me right now?
I mean, I know who kills him.
Okay.
I kind of... No, I bits and pieces.
It gets so dark.
Yeah.
honestly, I'm like kind of surprised.
It's a dark show.
It's so
and
much more
extremely convoluted.
Show
in general, but, yeah.
incredibly convoluted. Like, yeah, it does backflips to justify things.
People complain about it a lot. Like, a lot of people watch it, but it's very much got a like, oh, I can't believe I'm still watching this, like, grumbliness about it.
Okay.
But I'm just along for the ride, baby.
I mean, that's a mood in and of itself, I feel.
Yeah, totally.
And it keeps people tuning in.
I know.
It becomes the fun of, I can't believe I'm still in it for the ride.
It's been that for seasons. Yeah. So I think they must know that and just decide to go with it. I don't think they're wounded every time it happens.
Right, exactly. It's crazy. It's just crazy to think that, like, in the 90s, or I guess maybe not when was I? Yeah, I was 14, whatever, in like the late 90s, early 2000s, let's say. We're around the teenage age that I think this show's shooting for. We're watching like Boy Meets World.
I mean, I think when we meet them, they are sophomores.
But I'm talking about their audience.
Their audience? I don't know.
You know, because like I just think of like on Boy Meets World, they did that one episode where people are dying, and it's so cartoony.
Right,
like somebody dies because somebody pushes a bunch of books on top of them.
Yeah, right.
And they basically collapse to the ground. We act like they're dead, or whatever.
Right.
This show, they show that kid with a bullet wound underwater
totally.
with a really, really anatomically correct dummy.
I know.
Like it's just so.
It's
the bar
wild.
has just been raised for like teenager entertainment.
It definitely has been, but also at the same time, there was some teenager entertainment that was pretty adult. Like Dawson's Creek has some heavy stuff in it.
Is that right?
Yeah, like lots of death stuff, divorce. Pacey's having an affair with a teacher
so
in the
Archie.
First season. I know. Dawson's
Pacey
Creek
and Archie.
is... Say that again?
Pacey and Archie sitting in a tree.
Yeah. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. They're teachers. And then Kerr Smith, who is in Dawson's Creek, is in Riverdale in like season 4.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Jason Blossom.
Yes. Tell me what happened to him.
So Cheryl, the sister, the twin sister, claimed that her brother fell in the water and drowned trying to reach for her glove that went in, right? Well, then why did his gnarly body wash up with a bullet wound in the head? Did she kill him? No.
No.
All right, so let's explain this away. Evidently, Cheryl Blossom agreed to help her brother run away. He was going to leave home. And they were going to fake his death to explain why he was gone. See, he and Betty's sister Polly, who I mentioned earlier,
right,
and is mentioned a little bit throughout the pilot episode, were an item. Polly got pregnant, and the two of them wanted to run away, essentially to start a new life and a new family.
Right.
So he and Cheryl get into the boat together. They pilot it to another shore. He gets out of the boat. She leaves him on the shore. He's still alive. She comes back and is seen by Dilton Doily, Boy Scout troop kid.
Yes.
They've maintained, I also want to applaud that they maintained the insane names of these characters from the comics. Dilton Doily is mentioned within the first minute of this gritty show.
Dilton Doily is good friends with Ben Button.
Ben Button? Benjamin Button just ripped that off?
I know. I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence.
Oh, wait, Benjamin Button was a book, right?
I have no idea.
Benjamin Button, the book? I've never even seen the movie.
You haven't? I thought I watched it when we were still living at home for sure.
I saw clips of it and I immediately pegged it as something that would make me feel bad.
Oh.
And I love David Fincher.
I know.
But I looked at that thing for 2 seconds.
I forgot that's David Fincher.
Sure is.
Oh, a former paramour of mine urged me to watch it, so I did. And, oh, God.
Hurry!
Do it!
So anyway, Cheryl comes back.
A paramour. I'm talking like I'm in Riverdale.
I know. It's very dramatic. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
Quite frankly.
Yeah. Thank you. Whatever.
So she comes back to help fake the brother's death. So she thought that she was playing the game right until his real body washed up and she found out, oh my God, he is dead. So how was he killed and how did his body end up in the water? It sure looks like there's this gang. Jughead's dad, Billy Loomis, is in a gang.
Yeah.
They hang out at a club called the White Worm.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it's the Southside Serpents.
That's right.
And worm is spelled with a Y instead of an O.
The most evil spelling of worm.
That you can imagine.
This ain't your grandma's spelling of worm.
No, no. Right? This is a dark show.
It might be your great-great-grandma's spelling of worm.
That's true.
So maybe it was Billy Loomis who plays a guy. His name's FP, which is hard to say.
Yeah.
Maybe it was FP.
Well, because it's Forsyth Pendleton Jones.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So maybe that's, what's in the comics too. That's Jughead's real name too. He's named after Jughead is Forsyth Pendleton Jones III.
Good God.
Yeah.
What's that family tree?
We learn about it a little bit.
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
There's nothing you need to know about it.
Okay. So maybe FP dumped the body in the river. It sure seems like he did. Wait a minute. He says he did? Okay, so then FP must have killed him too, right? Oh, wait, he dumped the body in the water but didn't kill him? Okay, here's what happened. It turns out that the Blossom family, the maple syrup barons, maple syrup mavens, rich off of that tree-tapped gold.
That's right.
Put it on your pancakes. Well, it turns out they were putting something else on their waffles. Heroin.
Yeah.
On this show, they've been smuggling heroin this entire time.
Yep.
So the maple syrup's a cover within the family. Patriarch Clifford Blossom wanted to force his son, Jason, to join the family business and eventually run the drug empire under the maple syrup. But Jason refused. On top of that, he'd been doing the do with Polly.
Right.
They'd been having a real sweetie of a time. And they wanted to run away, prompting Cheryl to help him fake his death to get away with Polly, to start their family, but also to get away from having to run the family's maple syrup heroin empire.
It's a twofer.
It is. So they got on the boat. Jason gets off safely on the shore. Cheryl comes back to use the drowning cover story, but Jason still didn't make it to the getaway because he was kidnapped. By who? Billy Loomis. See, Billy Loomis, he knew about the drug deal stuff. Jason needed money to stage the runaway, so he tried to get Billy Loomis to help sell some drugs to make Jason money and get a getaway car.
Okay.
But Billy Loomis saw an opportunity, so he kidnapped, didn't kill, but kidnapped Jason Bloom, keeping him in the basement of, what did I say?
Bloom.
I keep saying it.
You do.
I've been texting Kristen Jason Bloom. I can't keep up with any of this. And he keeps Jason Blossom in the basement of the White Worm.
That's right.
And they see a video. Archie and the gang, they've been discovering this. They've been getting to the bottom of this the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
And suspecting people all over the place. At one point, they think Jughead killed him.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they find footage of Jason Blossom, who's in the basement of the White Worm, when his father, Clifford, shows up, seemingly to maybe say, hey, Southside Snakes, hey, Billy Loomis,
Serpents.
let my son go.
FP.
Whatever.
Keep going.
Details don't matter in this story I'm trying to tell everyone. And so you think that his father is going to basically try to set him free. Instead, he pulls a gun and shoots his son in the head, killing him.
Clifford Blossom is not a good guy.
Not a good guy. And then he leaves, leaving Billy Loomis, FP, to deal with the body.
Yep.
Essentially saying, you help me cover up the crime, or I'm going to do the same thing to Jughead. I killed my son. I will kill your son to make sure that my crimes get covered up.
Yeah.
Deal with the body. Cold guy.
Yeah, bad mambo.
So FP, Billy Loomis, takes the body, freezes it for a while, puts it in the deep freeze. Then dumps it in the river, which is then where it's discovered with a bullet hole in its head. So Riverdale has a body in the river.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of enjoy that now. You would think that maybe there would be some comeuppance here. Yes?
Yeah.
Of a type, I suppose.
Kind of, yeah.
They go to confront Clifford Blossom in his barn where he makes maple syrup and hides heroin. But opening the doors, he's hung himself.
That's right. He stood up on a maple barrel.
And
got up there.
And he killed himself,
and then got down.
thereby escaping the justice of John Law.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know.
Now,
do you know what the name of the house is that the Blossoms live in?
Of course not.
Thistle House.
Ah, okay. That makes sense because I have something that I read before that was called The Haunting of Thistle House.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So, the Jason Blossom story, that's season 1.
Yeah.
It's really the unraveling of this, and again in a very Twin Peaks way, where when we enter that story, it's who killed Laura Palmer,
right?
And she is really a MacGuffin that the story orbits around as the characters, interact with each other and learn about the world of Twin Peaks. But they're really focused on Laura Palmer, ostensibly.
Right, that's the central thing.
Yes, Jason Blossom is much the same. And just like Twin Peaks, where Laura Palmer will show up almost as like a vision occasionally,
right.
It seems they did the same thing with Jason Blossom, because his story does not end after season 1.
No.
There are references to him throughout the rest of the seasons, as far as I can tell, but there are also a couple of substantial things that occur. So I think seasons 2 and 3... probably touched on them here and there, but the next real crazy thing I have to say to you comes from season 4.
Yes.
This is where you said earlier you stopped watching.
Yes.
It turns out, and maybe you can help me fill in some of the blanks.
This is one of the things that made me go, all right.
Really?
Yeah.
It is stupid.
Yeah.
So it turns out Cheryl, the sister, and I believe, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, this is right as the show starts. I think.
Yeah.
It turns out that Cheryl has dug up her brother's body.
Yes.
And is living with it or keeping it or maintaining it.
Yes, all of the above.
And talking
at
to
Thistle
it.
House.
And calling him JJ.
Yeah, well, she's always called him JJ.
All right, well, whatever.
Yeah, that's not new.
And so we've got another dummy. Now, of note, and I saw this in the show, I watched a couple clips as well. You can see this in the video version. The bullet wound appears to be sewn up.
Yes.
Perhaps that was for burial.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
But the mouth is still hanging agape, and I find that very frightening.
I know.
I think the eyes are sewn shut.
Maybe that deteriorated or something, whatever keeps the lips together. So, yeah, I mean, you would not, glance at this person sitting in a room and be like, oh, that's a normal human person. You would automatically be like, ah,
yeah,
what is happening there?
Terrifying.
Yes.
And yet I watched a clip where somebody walks in and goes, Cheryl, what's going on? And it's her kneeling over her dead brother, who is basically, let's call it what it is. This is Psycho. This is Norman Bates' mother. And she's going, oh, you never got to meet JJ, did you?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking, how can you ever bring this character back? Cheryl is...
Oh, shit.
This has to be the end of her story. Has to be, but I know it's not.
Yeah. There's a lot in Riverdale that is just accepted by everybody within Riverdale as just like, this is just the way things happen here. It's another day, in Riverdale or whatever.
Oh, there's a lot in
that was
Riverdale,
her girlfriend,
right.
Tony Topaz, who lives with her in Thistle House. But Cheryl had been hiding Jason in the chapel of Thistle House and told nobody to go there because she said it's only for family. It's a Blossom tradition, just whatever. So Tony had never seen this whole thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, she was unaware until then about Jason being there, and then afterward accepts it.
They kept dating?
Yeah. And they have dinner and Jason's at the table.
What?
Tony later encourages Cheryl to let JJ go. She's being very patient with her.
Incredibly patient,
yes, incredibly patient.
I just think, clearly she needs to take her own time. Listen.
That's basically what Tony is going for.
The grieving process is complicated.
Everybody grieves differently.
She dug up her dead brother's corpse and is talking to it. I watched a clip where a rat climbs out of the buttons in his shirt.
Yes. Yeah. Now that was scary.
That scared me. And then at the end of the season, I guess she gets over it and she gives him a Viking funeral. They refer to it as, I would call it setting the body on fire.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's not really.
I don't know. I mean,
it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I suppose, but she's not a Viking. She's just burning the body.
Right.
And to me, that also suggests, I'm sure they don't really get into this.
Doing a funeral in a Viking style, certainly.
Is it grave
at least
robbing?
What they used to do.
It's grave robbing, right? You can't just take your family's body back.
I guess so.
It's in a weird way. It's like she's burning the evidence of her crimes.
I suppose that's true.
Anyway, the last thing I have to say, that was season 4 where they have the body of Jason Blum.
It's debatable whether she actually did.
Of course. So here's what I saw from season 5, and maybe you have more detail than or data than I have beyond this. I'm not sure. This is where my research stops.
Okay.
Because it's all that the Riverdale wiki gave me.
Yeah.
Okay, season 5. There's a cult of Jason. now.
I've only just started that today, literally.
Okay.
So I don't know a ton about it, but I can tell you what I'm referring to as far as like maybe Cheryl didn't really send his body off in a Viking funeral is that her mother, Penelope Blossom,
Yes.
had been in jail for, myriad things. Is out of jail because Veronica's father, Hiram Lodge, who owns the jail, privately owned jail, not good, staged a jailbreak of his own jail because he wants to like overrun Riverdale and make it bad.
What?
Yeah.
He basically opened Arkham Asylum to let all the villains out?
Yes, including Penelope Blossom. So then Penelope Blossom ran home, and I guess she's allowed, I don't remember now, maybe she like actually helped with something good, so they just like let her not be in jail anymore or something.
The show's insane.
Yes. So they are in this like Gothic mansion that is so awesome looking. They only ever wear red, sometimes with smatterings of black. They both have red hair. They're like red taper candles lit everywhere. It rules. And the house is humongous, so sometimes you might not know what the other is doing. And Cheryl comes upon one day Penelope delivering a sermon to some people, and she's talking about Jason. And Cheryl is like, how dare you use JJ's memory in this way? And Penelope's like, no, I'm not using him in this way. Like, this is what I believe or whatever. I'm seriously just at this today. So for all I know, we find out later that Penelope doesn't believe any of it.
Manipulating and
But so, Cheryl kind of blows her off, but obviously it must have planted a little seed. And then we see Cheryl going into, I guess, an attic or something and opening up a trunk, and there are bones in there, like a skeleton.
Oh my God.
So that's definitely Jason's skeleton. And then she goes downstairs and it's part of a musical number, this.
I feel like such a fool. I was going to say, her burning the body, I was like, now you don't even have like a thing to use anymore, but the bones.
Yeah. So she must have put something, I don't know what, on that funeral pyre. It was a musical number when this happened, but the implication was that now she is in with her mom and doing this, I guess, Cult of Jason thing.
So here's how Riverdale.fandom.com describes exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm. And they talk about being the Archieverse on Riverdale. I think that's the name of... No, not in the show. Riverdale.fandom.com, like their banner on the website, calls it the Archieverse.
Okay. I thought you were saying that on the show itself they refer to the Archieverse or something. I was going to...
No.
Start screaming. No. So here's what they had to say about exactly what you just described. Mm-hmm. Penelope, the mother, orchestrates a ministry in which they worship Jason. Penelope has come to realize that Jason was a sacrifice, and now it is up to them to shepherd the soul of their township back into the light. However, Cheryl remains extremely skeptical. Which is putting it lightly, right? Like, you're worshiping my murdered... my father murdered my brother, and you're worshiping him and claiming that he was a sacrifice. I'm going to remain skeptical for a while.
It's good
you can change my mind. You might prove me wrong, but I have to admit, I'm skeptical.
I think it's good that Cheryl casts a doubtful eye on this.
I think it's appropriate.
Did you come across any mention of Nana Rose in your travels?
If I did, I ignored it.
Nana Rose is Penelope's mother, who is just around in the mansion, is kind of like a spooky older woman.
Oh, does she have an eye patch?
Yes.
Okay.
Or like she has... maybe she has an eye patch sometimes. She definitely has one eye that is like a milky eye.
Okay.
I can't remember what you call that. But there are times where they don't realize that she's in the room and then she's like, like Nana Rose is there and like tells them something scary.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. Did you also come across anything about Julian Blossom?
Now, I did read that there was a spin-off comic called Blossom 666 in which there are 3 Blossom kids.
Right.
Jason, Cheryl, and Julian. That is literally all I know.
So I also read that this Cult of Jason storyline might be a kind of nod or spin-off of that comic, because I guess that there ends up being like a Cult of the Blossoms or something. But Julian... So during the same time that that Cheryl has Jason's corpse in the house and she's talking to it and keeping it dressed and all of that, that's going on for a while. And then all of a sudden this doll shows up. And the doll looks just like Robert the doll, which we have talked about on the show before. I'm not sure when it was, but we did. So this doll shows up and starts showing up different places in the house.
What?
All of a
like
sudden.
the boy?
Yes.
The
like
movie The Boy.
Yes. And it is kind of, it's very like the movie The Boy. So Cheryl's like, what is the deal? What's happening? And Nana Rose is like, oh, that's Julian. and Cheryl's like, who's that? And Nana Rose tells her that her mother told Nana Rose that when she was pregnant with Jason and Cheryl, that there were originally triplets. But Cheryl absorbed and consumed
the
weakest baby.
Oh my God.
And that this doll was a proxy for Julian because I don't remember why it was. I don't know if her mom was upset or I don't know what's up. And so she's like, that's your brother Julian. So not only is Cheryl dealing with whatever trauma and grief is making her have Jason out and about of the ground, now Julian is here. And she's like, oh, okay, I guess I should host Julian too, I guess, because I guess this is the ghost of my dead brother that I consumed.
Right.
She felt like super duper guilty about it. And then Julian is moving all around the house without her doing it. So she's like freaked out and it's like, it's a ghost. Oh my God. And she's feeling horrifically guilty. She gets a test done that I don't know if it's real or not, but it's a blood test that can tell you whether you have absorbed a fetus in utero.
Okay.
And the test comes back negative. And so she's like, this story is made up. What the hell? And so she just decides to smoke out the answer. So she, I think I'm remembering this correctly. I think she sets fire to Thistle House or just something to literally smoke out her mother, Penelope Blossom, who's been living in the walls of Thistle House, moving the Julian doll around when Cheryl is sleeping to try to gaslight her into thinking that she's crazy so that Cheryl relinquishes her inheritance of Thistle House and Penelope can take her rightful place once again.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to run the Blossoms out of town.
So Penelope comes out of the house like, and Cheryl's like, hello, mother.
Good God. Yeah. What a show.
Yeah.
What a show.
What a show indeed. Also, so I think we're going to have to just focus on the Blossoms and their role in Riverdale for the rest of this episode.
Really?
And
You don't want to go for like 2 hours?
Dare I say a part 2 is in order. It doesn't have to be next week, but I didn't even get to my stuff.
I'm afraid of a part 2.
And we've been going.
Are we at the end of the show?
Yes, we have 15 more minutes.
How is that possible?
I know. Time flies when you're having fun, eh?
I'm not kidding. I feel like I time traveled. How is that possible? It took me an hour to tell you what I had to tell you?
Well, no. I mean, we've been going for 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yes. And we try to shoot for an hour, even though that doesn't happen often.
Good God. I feel like I lost time. Like I got abducted or something.
Or like Jughead in season 5, which I guess we'll have to get to on another episode.
Okay.
Because Jughead loses time.
Does he?
Yeah.
I feel like a season 5 Jughead right about now.
Yeah, he loses time and ends up in Sketch City, which is Riverdale's version of like a Skid Row.
It's called Sketch City?
Maybe it's Sketch Row. I don't know. Anyway, so did you come across the information that the Blossoms and the Coopers are actually related?
No, why don't you just tell me these things? Stop asking me if I've come across these things here and there. Did you happen to come across Nana?
It has to do with
Spooky Grandma. Now, did you happen to stumble across Jason's tableau? Like, I don't know.
Are you done?
I literally don't know anything.
I didn't ask you if you came across the fact that FP becomes sheriff, which he does.
He does?
Yes.
How?
I'm asking you things that are connected to Jason. Specifically.
He dumped a body in the lake and was accused of murder and was arrested. Can you just become sheriff?
I guess.
Is he still on the show?
Not really. Because they did a time jump. They did like a 6 or 7 year time jump.
70-year time jump.
Like a 6 or 7 year time jump. And FP took Jughead's little sister Jellybean across the country to see her mother.
Real quick.
Yeah.
What's Jughead's real name?
Forsyth Pendleton Jones the Third.
What's his sister's name?
Jellybean.
Okay.
Well, that's not her real name. I don't know what her real name is.
Okay.
Yeah. And their mother is Gina Gershon.
Well, that's not her real name.
No,
I know,
but isn't that good? Isn't that good casting?
It's great casting.
Yeah, it's excellent. She shows up wearing
I love Gina Gershon.
I know, she's great. She's a biker like FP, and I feel like maybe she doesn't show up wearing it, but you know when there's like a newsboy cap, but then it kind of has like the brim of a baseball hat?
Yeah.
She's like wearing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and like scarves.
I feel like you commonly see that with like the biker lady stereotype. They usually wear that silly hat.
She's wonderful. Also FP and Alice get together.
I don't know who Alice is.
Alice is Shelley from Twin Peaks.
Yeah, there are Twin Peaks performers in here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Machinamic, whatever.
Yeah, she's great.
Yes. So, I might be remembering this incorrectly. I think that Hal Cooper is actually a Blossom, who is Lachlan Monroe.
Hold on. Hal Cooper is actually a Blossom, who is Lachlan Monroe. Can we rephrase this?
Yes. Hal Cooper, played by Lachlan Monroe, is actually a member of the Blossom family.
Okay. And
either
Hal Cooper is Betty's dad.
Yes. Either him or Betty's mom. I can't remember. But one of them is a member of the Blossom family, which makes Jason Blossom and Polly Cooper actually cousins.
Oh, no.
I know. So that was part of the whole, like, oh, this is not good.
No.
Like, gotta get him away sort of thing.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
The children that Polly has are named Juniper and Dagwood.
Now, I did come across that. Is Dagwood from Dagwood? Like from Blondie?
I don't know.
I'm going to look that up.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But they get all like actually there's another cult in Riverdale that's run by Edgar Evernever, and Polly
Jesus. I started Googling Dagwood and you said that and I felt my brain, I felt like just like electricity.
She takes the twins and goes.
What's the name you just said?
Edgar Evernever.
Okay.
He runs a cult.
Bless you.
He's played by Chad Michael Murray from One Tree Hill, which I never watched, but I know people are into.
His names. God. Lachlan Monroe, Chad Michael Murray.
You know who Lachlan Monroe is, though.
Oh, of course I know who Lachlan Monroe is.
Yeah.
Are you insane? Yes, of course.
So that name's not so out of left field, but it is a strange name.
It's a strange name.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
okay,
the children of Jason
I have to like focus.
End up. Look, it's not going to go that much longer. They end up spending some time with Polly in a cult that's called the Farm.
It's the second cult?
It's the first cult, actually.
Okay.
This is in like season 3 or something like that. And there's like a weird girl in Riverdale High all of a sudden who's like kind of recruiting people to the cult and getting some of Betty's friends to get sucked in, gets her mom to get sucked in with Polly. One night, Betty sees them around the fire with the twins, Dagwood and Juniper, and sees the twins levitate into the air. What the hell is happening? And then Betty falls, having a seizure.
Oh, God.
Yes, there are seizures rampant in Riverdale at this time, which is a whole other story, actually unrelated to the cult, that I will have to get to in part 2.
Don't refer to part 2 like it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's coming. It's next week. I'll just talk to you next week.
Ooh.
This means you don't have to do any research for next week. I am just going to tell you a tale.
I do like that.
Yeah, right?
Can we see? Let's do a very cynical, business-minded approach.
how this does.
If you want a part 2,
okay, all right.
Smash that like button.
All right, smash that like button.
Spread the word. Get this out there. If people
right.
demand a part 2, we will manifest it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
I want to give the people what they want. You're right. I'm all worked up about this, but maybe the people at home aren't.
Smush that like button.
Smush it. All right, let me tell you what's going on at the farm.
All right.
So Edgar Evernever is running this farm. There this cult that's called the farm. He has this chick who's part of the cult, and who says that Edgar Evernever is her dad in Riverdale High and kind of indoctrinating people. So, like Ethel Mudge goes into the cult.
Oh.
Ethel Mudge is played by that girl in Stranger Things that died that everybody really loved. Barb, yes.
Does anyone say justice for Mudge?
No, they don't.
Okay.
They don't. Ethel Mudge is in it. Some of Betty's friends get sucked in. Polly's obviously in it. And then her mom ends up following Polly into the cult, like I said. And Betty's good friend Kevin. So Betty's like, I gotta get to the bottom of this cult. Betty's always getting involved in mysteries and stuff. She wants to solve things. So she's like, this is enough. So I'm gonna go like infiltrate the cult, see what's going on. It turns out that in the cult, they are putting people under with hypnosis and maybe drugs and stuff, and then stealing their organs.
Oh.
Harvesting their organs.
What?
So they're not really like a spiritual cult.
Not at all.
That's what their front is, but they want to get you under and then steal and sell your organs
Now, I
on
would
the black
argue
market.
a cult seems
farm.
like a cult. Yeah, a
They're
farm.
farming them. So
There
the
you
name
go.
The Farm is kind of a little wink.
Now, I almost feel as though starting a cult to hide your organ harvesting, you can only harvest so many organs, right? And
I
get
don't
away
know.
with it before you're just killing people,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right?
I mean, people who are in the cult have like weird scars that they don't remember having. Like Kevin's liver is taken out or something, and he's got this weird scar, and he's like, I don't know.
Oh. You can live without your liver, right?
I guess. It might not be liver. I don't know what it was.
So are they killing people or are they
You
doing
can't
like
live without
take
your liver.
one kidney, that kind of thing?
I think it's mostly take one kidney here and there. I
Okay.
don't think they're really killing people, if I remember correctly.
So a cult.
This, I wasn't planning on talking about this, so I didn't do my due diligence. This is off the top.
My feeling is that a cult you have to really like foster and grow and
He
keep
does.
it going. But now you've got a cult of people who are no good to you anymore because you can't keep harvesting
You
their
got to
organs.
keep getting more.
But why have it be a cult?
I don't know. Maybe they
Because
also...
then you just have so many people.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they do kill some people. Like I said, I didn't check this. This was a
Yeah.
few seasons ago. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to
Okay,
lie.
fair
He
enough.
definitely seems to enjoy the attention of it and
Okay.
everything. He likes being a prophet. You know, he's like a shirtless prophet guy.
Of course.
Also, the girl who was in their high school, who is Edgar Evernever's daughter, is not his daughter.
Oh.
She's way older. She just enrolled at Riverdale High just so she can try to get more people. Betty is able to pull her files and realize that she's been to high school in multiple different states and towns multiple times.
Oh, okay.
So that she starts to really unravel all this stuff. So, you know, she figures it all out. Their goose is cooked, except they escape. The people from the farmies, they call them, like scattered to the winds, basically. Edgar Evernever is tracked down in a later season, and he is going to, and I'm not kidding, go on a rocket to get away from everything. He's like boarding a rocket like Evel Knievel that he's going to shoot into the air and like get away far or something.
Johnny Knoxville.
Yes, like Johnny Knoxville. But
Sitting on a rocket,
yeah,
blasting
yes.
off over a lake.
Yes,
Okay.
it's like that. And he is shot and killed. The police intercept him somehow because this is a bad guy.
Sounds like he would have died anyway.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Also, Alice Cooper, Betty's mom, who, you know, I'd said had gone into the cult and was like moony-eyed at Edgar. I think they were like even a coupley sort of thing at one point.
Yeah.
It turns out she's been undercover. She has been trying to get Polly out of the cult. Right. So she was there undercover and she's been working with the FBI secretly.
What? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which includes her long-lost son, Betty's brother, Charles,
What?
who's an FBI agent. You see, Alice and FP were high school sweethearts.
Oh, no.
They had a child. Wait, is this FP's child? I think it is. They had a child that they gave up for adoption. This is Charles.
Okay. So Betty, hold on. Betty and Veronica.
Right.
Right?
We haven't even talked about Veronica.
No. They love triangle with Archie.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I think in the show, Jughead's in that mix.
Yes. In the show, so there is some like love triangle-y stuff with Betty, Archie, and Veronica, but generally Betty and Jughead are a couple,
Right.
and Archie and Veronica are a couple.
So Betty and Jughead are an item.
Yes.
And yet, they would have a shared sibling.
Yes. Yes.
But they
Yes, that
wouldn't,
is true.
It wouldn't make them related.
No, they both have the same half brother.
But it certainly makes things awkward.
It definitely is awkward. And then later in the show, they're all living together. Like
Ooh.
FP and Alice live together with Betty and Jughead.
What?
Yeah. And Jelly Bean.
Okay, yeah. Don't forget about Jelly Bean.
Yeah. That's just what they do. But so Betty and Jughead are there, and FP and Alice have gotten back together after Hal Cooper, Lachlan Monroe,
Yes.
is out of the picture for a very shocking reason.
Oh, because he's actually a blossom. He's actually part of the maple syrup empire. Okay.
That has nothing to do with why
Fair,
he's gone.
I'm just trying to connect the dots.
You wouldn't believe what he did.
I bet I will. I bet I will believe it.
Yep. Really shocking. So smash that like button for part 2
Oh, shut
of
up.
Riverdale.
Really?
Yes.
You're going to leave on a cliffhanger?
I cannot get into that.
It's too big?
Oh, yeah. It's huge. The
All right.
repercussions are, it starts in season 2 and the repercussions are felt throughout the series.
Well, repercussions might be felt throughout the Guide to the Unknown-iverse. I think people...
He's a serial killer.
Well, you just ruined it. That's not a cliffhanger.
I thought you were just saying that people would be mad that I didn't say
I was
it.
about to join you in...
Oh.
I was about to say, make sure you smush that like button.
Well, I don't know what kind of serial killer.
That's true. I do kind of want to know. Does he have a serial killer MO?
Yes.
He has like a whole methodology?
Yep. He has a name.
Is it
He
intimated?
sends an open letter to the town.
Oh my God, like the Zodiac?
Yep.
Does he? Is it a cipher?
No, it's not a cipher.
Does he sign it?
I think he might sign it.
Is it cool?
It's okay.
Well, is it cool in
Yeah.
on a curve?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I kind of do want to know. You've got me on a cliffhanger too because I don't know.
Let me tell you the
about...
subjects for a potential second episode, okay?
Okay.
Here is what I was going to talk about today. The Black Hood, which is the name of his serial killer. His serial killer is called the Black
You're
Hood.
ruining the cliffhanger all over the place.
That's it.
I'm afraid for you to keep going because you're just going to say what his MO was now.
I'm not going to.
Okay,
No, I'm not going
all
to. Then I was going to talk about Griffins and Gargoyles / the Gargoyle King, which I always write as the Goblin King, but that's actually Jareth from Labyrinth.
Right.
And I was going to talk about the Halloween episode of Riverdale and what happened during that.
Okay, that's fun.
So smush that like.
Smush that like. I could be convinced to watch an episode of something.
Fun.
If people have an episode they want to hear me. It can be something you think I would hate. I don't care. I would do that in a sequel. If people want a part 2.
You know what? Here's what you could do for the part 2. You could watch the Halloween episode.
Okay.
You could take that.
Sure, I could do that.
And then I could talk about the Black Hood and Griffins and Gargoyles. And I might even be done with... I might be up to date by then. Where I am right now in season 5, there is a Mothman storyline, but I'm not done with it yet at all. And so maybe by that point, I'll be able to talk about the Mothmen.
Okay, all right.
It's actually Mothmen, and it's very much an extraterrestrial thing.
Is this where Jughead loses time?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you actually know?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
I thought maybe you didn't know.
No, I do.
Maybe.
It is. He loses time.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
He also trips on maple mushrooms.
Maple mushrooms?
Yeah.
You think that's real?
No, I mean, they just call maple everything.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, just to button up some loose ends before we go, I looked it up, and as far as I can tell, Dagwood, a baby being named Dagwood, is of no relation to the comic strip.
Okay.
This is from Insider. Whether this was on purpose or not, Dagwood is the name of a character from the Blondie comics. The strip has no relation to the Archie comics, though.
Okay.
And I also wanted to look up Jelly Bean's real name.
Oh, right.
Because I want to see if she has...
Like a highfalutin name.
Yeah, she better.
She probably does. I really don't remember.
She has aliases. This is weird.
Jelly Bean does?
JB,
Well, yeah.
Jelly Belly, and the auteur.
Oh, yeah, that's
What is that?
another storyline.
Okay.
That actually, it seems like it's going to be cool and then ends up going nowhere. I'll say it real quick. People in town are receiving tapes of just their houses that go for hours and hours and hours.
Ooh.
And so they're like, what is this? It's the auteur. And then they are starting to receive tapes of reenactments of previous infamous killings in the town. So like Clifford Blossom killing his son and like the Black Hood doing stuff or whatever. It's people wearing like masks of those characters, like reenacting a killing.
Okay.
And it turns out that it was Jelly Bean. And I think, again, I wasn't prepared. I don't remember the reason for her doing it. I think it might have been like, at first it was a prank, but then she like was kind of warped by all the crazy stuff that's happened in the town and decided to do it. She's not like insane or anything, but like
Sounds like
it's
multiple people in this town might be insane.
yeah, like all the darkness is a bad influence on her, and that's the catalyst for FP leaving Alice to drive Jelly Bean and be with her and her mom for a while. That's like why they separate.
Oh, and that sort of is Skeet Ulrich leaving the show, probably, right?
Right. He hasn't been back in it since the time jump happened.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's going to come back or not. It seems like he might, because he and Alice didn't like, they obviously broke up because he's moving cross country, but he was like, we'll see each other again, sort of thing.
Yeah, but that could be...
It could be, but I could also see him coming back.
It's a great way to write off the character without killing him. The door is open, but if he's gone, he could be gone forever.
Right.
And in headcanon, you can be like, yeah, maybe they get together someday.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So real quick, Jelly Bean. I've looked up her real name. First of all, the Archie Wiki never used her real name.
Okay.
Only referred to as Jelly Bean, which made me think maybe she really is just named Jelly Bean. So hold on. What's Jughead's real name again?
Forsyth Pendleton Jones III.
Okay, I have from Wikipedia.
No?
Jelly Bean is Forsythia Jelly Bean Jones. Forsythia.
Okay.
Forsyth.
Yeah.
Forsythia. And their dad is Forsyth.
I guess it's like George Foreman naming all of his kids George.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that's Riverdale, everybody. Potentially, that's just Riverdale Part 1.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows what might happen
There's
in the
a
future?
lot of stuff going on there.
Now, I keep saying to smush that like button. That doesn't make really much sense. If you're watching the YouTube version, certainly smush that like button and share.
But other than that, spiritually smush the like button by letting us know that you would like a part 2, and also spreading the word about the show, letting people know that you like it and maybe they would as well.
That I think will take you much further. Spreading the word and letting people know that we're doing this. If we see the numbers of this particular episode doing well.
Right.
I'm thrilled if you enjoyed the show, but I'm curious if this would be like kind of a tentpole kind of thing. If people want to hear it. So let us know. Spread the word. Smush the like button. Subscribe to us on youtube.com/talkbomb. Make sure that you are subscribed to or following this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Tweet at GTTUpod. Get the word out there. Maybe this is not the end of Riverdale.
No.
I'll tell you what, much like FP leaving town, for me, this easily just could be the end.
I understand if it is. It's fine. I privately very much enjoy it. Yeah.
But boy, oh boy.
You're satisfied.
I couldn't be more satisfied, Kristen.
You don't want to know about the Black Hood and the Gargoyle King?
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I kind of do.
Yeah. You'll like it.
We'll let the people decide.
Okay.
We'll
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Also, go to patreon.com/GTTUpod if you want to support the show. Thank us for putting out these free episodes every week and get a little sugar back in return, because we have multiple tiers where you can choose your own adventure and you can either get a bonus episode every single week, every other week, or every fourth week. So thank you so much to all of our patrons who are already over there, and we really hope that you'll help out the show.
Yeah, 100%. We actually just had an episode go up this past week. This went out to our ghosts, to our banshees, and to our demons.
Yep, those are our tiers.
Those are the tiers. And so we really hope that you enjoyed that show. And we're going to have a new episode coming up that's going to be just for the demons this Monday.
That's right.
So peep all that stuff. And if you sign up today, you get everything that's ever been up there. So hop in. Patreon.com/GTTUpod. GTTUpod.com, by the way, is the home of all of this stuff. I've gotten a couple notifications, even just before we started the show just now, of people buying some of our merch, some Guide to the Unknown shirts.
Yeah.
You can find links to that stuff from GTTUpod.com. It also lives on tpublic.com/user/GTTUpod. And if you'd like to speak to us, you can reach out to us directly.
Yep. I am at Chillin' Kristen.
I am at The Myth Traveler. So thank you all so much for taking this trip to Riverdale with us, the town with pep. Maybe,
That's right.
Maybe we'll stick around next week. Who knows? Or maybe I'm going to pack my,
your bindle
quirky 1950s Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Cherry red Chevrolet. I'll get a milkshake from Pop's Chocolate Shop.
Yep.
And I'll drive off into the sunset.
We'll see what happens.
Who's to say?
All right.
It's you. You'll be the ones to say.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week for more of something. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Over to Riverdale. Go we, me hope.
I've never in all my years heard me hope.